Welcome to Abandoned to Abundant, the podcast where we reclaim our power, we rewrite our stories, and step fully into the abundant life we deserve. I am your host, Linda Brand. I am a certified life coach, a dream builder coach, and an entrepreneur. I know what it feels like to be lost, stuck, and alone. I know what it feels like to be abandoned by life circumstances, but I also know what it takes to rebuild and create a life of overflowing with passion, purpose, joy, and abundance. You are worthy of living a life of joy and abundance. If you're here, there's a reason. If you're ready to break free from limiting beliefs, step into your most authentic self, learn to love yourself, manifest the life of your dreams, you are in the right place. Let's shift from feeling abandoned to feeling abundant. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited for today's guest. I'm always excited, but today I am joined with Michelle Weihman. She is an award-winning nurse, empowerment coach, and best-selling author. Michelle is passionate about helping women discover their inner strength and transform their lives. From overcoming the challenges of being a high school dropout to becoming an accomplished leader in healthcare, Michelle's journey is a testament to resilience and the power of transformation. She now uses her expertise to empower others to live with purpose, confidence, and clarity. Welcome, Michelle, to the show. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Linda, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be a part of the Empowered and Abandoned to Abundant podcast. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. So tell us a little bit. I mean, we're also doing a book together. You guys do so many things, you and your husband. You have you've published books. And how many books have you published?
We have published 4, 5, about 10.
Wow.
Between our own and other people's, our clients, we've hit about 10 so far. It's very cool. It's so much fun. I love seeing it come together.
That's amazing. And we have a book coming up together where I have a chapter in your book called Dare to Care 2. Do you want to touch on a little bit about what the books are just real quick, and then we'll get into your story, your personal?
Absolutely. Dare to Care is wellness warriors sharing stories of healing, growth, and empowerment. This book was created. Book 1 was all medical personnel. And this book is Wellness Warriors, all about wellness warriors and about healing, growth, and empowerment. Dare to Care Wellness Warriors share stories of healing, growth, and empowerment is all wellness warriors. It is a book about healing, about growth and empowerment, and it's people who help people do that. Book 1 was healthcare professionals, and it was mostly like why I became a nurse and stuff like that. This book is about healing. When the reader picks it up, they're going to get tips that they can take today for healing, growth, and empowerment.
That's amazing. I'm so excited and honored to be a part of that. And it's coming out very soon. So
very soon.
Get ready, everybody. So tell us, you talked about in the intro, you were a high school dropout, and today you're empowering all these people. You're doing all these things, writing books, coaching. Tell us where your journey, wherever you want to start, but what happened a little bit.
I've been a nurse for 30 years. And in that 30 years, I joke about it a lot because my mom got pregnant with me while she was in high school, and she was in the Future Nurses of America Club. So she didn't become a nurse. So it was just destined that that's where I was going to go. And so I became a nurse about 30 years ago. But before I became a nurse, I was in school, and I was set up for success. My parents set me up for success. I went to private high school, private grade school, private high school. There was nothing holding me back. And then I got pregnant in high school, just like my mom did. I was 16 years old. I got pregnant. I got married because that's what you did in the 80s when you got pregnant, is you got married. There wasn't there were options, but they weren't great options. From there, I had to get myself together to go back and get my GED, to go to nursing school. And this is all while I had 3 children. And I will say that my children's father he was not supportive. He was not saying, hey, let's help you. Let me take care of the kids while you go study. I would stay up. I would do the things I needed to do. I would take them to school. I would take them to their practices, whatever I needed to do. And then after I did what I needed to do, I would study after the kids were in bed, after he was in bed, after the laundry was done, whatever. And I made it through nursing school. And when I got out of nursing school, I went like straight into leadership, and not on purpose, but because I was the only nurse who was not a traveling nurse or an agency nurse that was on my floor. So I was in leadership. It's just the way it worked out. And I definitely spent my time on the floor. I paid my dues, as some nurses would say, but I didn't get to do the normal young baby nurse thing and make the baby nurse mistakes that baby nurses get to make. Anyway, so as time went on, my relationship that I was in got more and more abusive. And as it got more abusive, the higher up I went in nursing, the higher up I went in leadership, the less secure he was. And we finally came to the point where it was time for me to get out of that relationship. And I got out of that relationship. And then a year later, I met Christoph, who's my husband, and he's amazing. And he and I moved to Las Vegas. We've been here since 2013, so for 12 years. And it's just been amazing. I still am in hospital leadership, but I've also journeyed into the wellness and to the coaching realm.
That's beautiful. So you are a true testament to resilience. And when was it that you met Christoph? When was it that you ended the first relationship, the marriage?
The first relationship, as I said, I was moving in that direction. He was less and less supportive, more and more abusive. And one night he lost whatever it is. I don't want to say he lost his mind, because that's not nice. But he lost control, and he had a gun. He's going to shoot me, shoot himself, and I talked him down, and I got him to put the gun away. My daughter was in the basement. She was like, "If I hear a gunshot, is that dad shooting me, mom, or is that dad?" Help. And so it was a horrifying night. I got him to put the gun away. And once he got the gun put away and he went to bed, and he went right to sleep, he just like was snoring. And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Oh, like I'm wide awake. I'm like freaking out, right? But you know what I did the next morning, Linda? I got up and went to work. Just like it was normal.
Oh, wow. I was thinking you packed everything and left.
And even the next day, I was going home, and I told one of my friends who's a police officer, I said, I'm going to go home and talk to him. And he said, "Don't go home, because if you go home, he's going to shut that door, and we're not going to be able to come get you in time." And I said, "He's not going to hurt me. He just had a gun pointed at me." And I still was so brainwashed that he's not going to hurt me. And my son came with us, and my son at that time was 26, and he came with us, and their dad, my ex-husband, opened the screen door and let me in. And then the two of them fought over the door, and he was trying to get me in that house by myself. And that's when I woke up and was like, wow, what am I doing? And that
wasn't that long ago, like 10 years, or how long ago?
Yeah, it was 2011.
Okay.
Because we moved here. That was in 2011. And then I met Christoph in 2012, and we moved here 2013.
Okay. And then how did you, so how old was the daughter that was in the basement?
She was 20.
Oh, wow. And then how did you heal, like process all of that? How did you, like, that's trauma. You experienced major.
Yeah, and it took a long time, to be really honest. Healing from something that traumatic is not a fast thing.
No.
And it took a lot of time. I was having PTSD. I was having nightmares. I would wake up in a cold sweat. And when
things
I met
Oh,
It was things like I wasn't into self-development yet. This is kind of weird because I wasn't into self-development yet. So I wish I could say it was meditation and it was this. It wasn't. It was, but it was, it wasn't, but it was. It was prayer. It was my family. It was, I had at the time one dog and then got a second one. It was my dogs. And then it was also moving 1,600 miles away. But when we moved, then that's when Christoph and I moved, and that Christoph actually introduced me to the book, The Secret. And it was things that I already knew inside my head already that I didn't even realize I knew, but it was in ink. I could read it and so then that's kind of the start of my personal growth journey at that point.
so your husband, Christoph, was the one who introduced you to all of this powerful work, right?
Yep.
That's amazing. But you were already a leader. You already overcame. You were a warrior prior. Like I had a reading by an astrologer who was on my show, and she's like, "You're the wounded warrior, and da da da, and you're meant to do this work." And so, anyway, it's interesting. You and I have similar stories where I never had my high school diploma for different reasons. I got in trouble with the law when I was like 17, but I think I quit before. I don't remember, but I wasn't. It was not a good experience. You had a great foundation, it sounds like, in your family built, you were set up to win, and I wasn't really set up to win. But so your parents, what happened? I'm just curious, like when you got pregnant, like were your parents supportive or did you have to deal with?
Well, my mom was very supportive. My mom and I have to say that I would have, I don't want to say that I would have been better off if she wouldn't have been so supportive, but I would have been better off if she would have said, no, you're going to stay in school and we're going to raise, whatever happens, we're going to raise this baby. And I have no regrets. If I wouldn't have taken the path I took, I wouldn't have the kids that I have. I wouldn't have my amazing husband, the puppies that I have. So I have no regrets about the direction my life took.
Yeah.
My mom was very supportive. She threw me a little hurry up wedding so that it didn't look so weird. My dad was not supportive. He did not come to my wedding. It took him quite a while, but for my dad, my parents got divorced when I was very young, and I was my dad's only child, and he had me set up for something much bigger than quitting high school,
right,
and getting and having that. So it actually, and it might be a coincidence, but I know that he actually did start coming back around more after I got my diploma, and he started coming around more when I had my second son, which was actually when I was already in college.
wow, very, very.
But my dad, he has always supported me. And it's just that he did not support me leaving high school.
Right. Well, yeah. So are your parents around today?
Yes, they both are. They're in St. Louis and I live in Las Vegas, but I talk to my mom. I try, well, she's harder to catch because she's always busy doing stuff. I talk to my mom probably once a week ish.
Nice.
And I talk to my dad 3 or 4 times a week.
Nice.
Yeah. And then my oldest son moved to Las Vegas. I see him a couple times a week. I talk to him almost every day. My daughter moved to Las Vegas. I see her a couple times a month. Again, she works full time and she has a husband. And so I don't see them as much, and then my other son lives in Colorado and we talk a couple times a week. And that's where my grandbaby is.
Nice. So is Christoph, your current husband, the reason you think you're doing the work that you're doing, like with women and empowerment and, writing books and things? Are you ready to stop wishing and start living your dream life? As a certified dream builder coach, I'm here to help you design a life you absolutely love. In my 12-week Dream Builder coaching program, we go deep into uncovering what truly lights you up, breaking through the fears and limitations holding you back, and taking real inspired action toward your vision. This is more than a program, it's a transformational experience that will shift the way you see yourself, your goals, and your future. If you're ready to create your dream life instead of just dreaming about it, let's make it happen together. The link is in the show notes. You are worthy of your dream. It is possible for you, and I am waiting for you. And there is a special going on right now, so check the link in the show notes, and I would love to see you there. If you have any questions, send me a message.
It's such an interesting question, Linda, because when I was a little girl, like I always knew that I was meant to do something. Like I knew I was meant to help people and not at first I thought it was just being a nurse, and not that there is ever just being a nurse, for God's sake. I mean, I can tell you all the stories about that, but I always knew I was meant to do more. I was meant to do something really special, and I didn't know what it was. And so when Christoph and I met, and then, like I said, we joined together and doing personal development together and separate. So the answer to that is yes. And it was where I was supposed to go anyway.
Right, right. Everything was meant to be. It was divine. It was divine that you met him. It was divine, everything. So
I would like to throw in. So since you said it was divine that I met him, and it's kind of funny because I have been separated and divorced, and like I was going to bars with my friends, and I would dance with other guys, but Christoph asked me for my phone number, and I said, "Oh no, I don't give my phone number to guys I meet in bars." And so just the fact that that's the only phone number I ever gave out was the person that was Christoph. As I think you talk about divine, because I was not going to give my phone number.
yeah, that makes you more attractive when you're, you met in a bar. That's how you met him. And that was in what state?
In St. Louis.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Nice. And he's a speaker coach, and he does a lot of things, right? He's doing all kinds
Christoph is a speaker coach. He's also a 5-star customer service coach or facilitator. He goes to that's part of the reason we're in Las Vegas. He goes to like the casinos and stuff like that and does training, 5-star customer service training. We've actually done it in South Beach, Miami, and Colorado, and the Philippines. He's all over the country and all over the world. He's gone and done training for 5-star customer service. We also do our publishing, and we run events, speaking events, which is why my voice is a little hoarse today, because we literally just finished one yesterday. So and that was called the Heart Centered Summit. Such a special event. It was all these heart centered. When you get there's a difference, and we talked about this a little bit at the event. There's a difference between being around like-minded people and like-souled people.
Yes.
And these were people who had like souls, and that we were connected in such a special way that each person that went up there, you could almost feel like we were telling like the same type of story, even though it was completely different. And it was just, you could just feel the love and the soul and the heart in the room.
I love that. So people that are open-hearted, that are, just similar souls, you're saying, not just the minds think alike, but like your soul is a giver or somebody that's, wanting to learn.
So many empaths in the room, and that's a little bit different too, because I'm not, even as a nurse and being around other nurses are not necessarily empathetic. The best nurses in the world are, but nurses are not necessarily empathetic. And so just having so many people to absorb that energy with me just felt so much better.
Wow. So you stayed in that was your kid's dad from 16. You stayed until 2011, right?
Yeah, I was married for 28 years.
Was there any good? I mean, was it all were you just staying because of the religious beliefs, or you don't You didn't
Yeah, it was
like
both.
kids?
There was a lot of things. One is, yeah, good wives don't get divorced. It's that simple. It's good parents don't get divorced. My parents got divorced when I was 7. And I always hated it. I hated that I didn't have a normal family. You watch TV and it doesn't matter like hardly what show you watch. It's not divorced parents. It's very seldom divorced parents. If you think about like the Brady Bunch when I was growing up, then, of course neither of them were divorced. They both lost their spouses.
Right.
Or you talk about Roseanne, they fought like, her and Dan fought like cats and dogs, but they stayed married. And Full House, Danny's wife died. So even those type of families, they still didn't want to show the divorce. They didn't show that. And so I felt like it wasn't a conscious decision, but good people don't get divorced.
Right.
And so that was, and it was also for the kids. And then after it all was said and done, and for those of you who are listening who have a marriage that's not good and you're staying together for the kids don't want you to do that.
No.
My kids were like, why did you stay in that relationship? And I kind of jokingly say, because a lot of people are like, what would you like to tell yourself from back in the past? And I always think I'd like to tell my future self to leave after Melissa's born. I don't want to miss out on getting my kid, because she was my best friend for, till I met Christoph. Melissa was my best friend. We knew what each other were thinking all the time. And, so I wish I would have left after that, but then I'd be a different person.
Right. Yeah, you'd be a different person. You'd have a different journey. You might not be, serving and supporting people the way you are. I mean, you're a true testament to like resilience and, just what you went through. I mean, I didn't know a lot of this about you, but how did you guys get into all the dogs? You have 6 dogs, right?
Yeah. So I got a dog. Her name is Lily. I got her when Melissa went away to college. Melissa is my youngest child. When she went away to college, empty nester, I got a dog. And then when Dave and I separated, he said he wanted to share custody of Lily, of the dog. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. That's not a thing. But because I was married to this man for a long time, and I cared about him for a long time. And so I said, but what I will do is we'll get another dog from the same breeder, and I will potty train her. Or, he wanted a girl dog. I will potty train her, and then you can have her. So we got Carly. We got her from the same breeder. I potty trained her, and I said, okay, your dog is ready. She's potty trained. And he said, no, I don't want it.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I don't want 2 dogs. That's not my plan. But so I got 2 dogs. I had 2 dogs. Then we moved Christoph. I met Christoph. We moved to Las Vegas together, and we were staying in an apartment, and I had this coworker who had a little Chihuahua, and she was going to take it to the Animal Foundation, to the pound.
Oh,
and I had a next door neighbor who moved in, who her kid really wanted a dog. So I said, oh, well, I have I have a coworker who has a dog. So let's do that. And so I went and got Bruno, who is our puppy that just passed away recently. And he was 1.5 pounds. And I went to take him to this neighbor, and I knocked on the door, and she was running a daycare in this apartment that we were staying. And so I'm like, I can't give her this 1.5 pound dog to have running around a daycare.
Kids abuse.
He won't survive that. So he was my second accident baby. So really Lily is my only on purpose dog, just for the record. From there we decided to foster. Our first foster got adopted by my daughter, but still he got adopted. Our next foster was a litter, and one of those dogs would not go to anybody but me. And when people would come to see him, he'd stay. And I'd say, oh, I think we're supposed to keep him.
Mm-hmm. That's like my lucky.
That's yet to be decided. And I said, well, if we keep him, you can name him. And he said, well, that's yet to be determined. And so I finally said, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and keep him, and we're going to call him Yeti Boy because he's yet to be. So that's where Yeti Boy came from. Again, an accident. None of these are on purpose.
Right.
I did not mean to have 6 dogs and now 5. One of them we got at a casino. The guy had in a duffel bag and was going to not take good care of her. And then the last one that we got was Rascal. He's our 14-year-old rescue. And he was let out on the streets of Vegas. We brought him into our home as a hospice foster. They didn't really expect him to survive very long. Once he got into our home with the amount of love that we give, the food, the supplements, he bounces around the house like he's 5 years old. You just never know. So that's how it was an accident. I swear to God, I did not mean to get this.
And they're
many
all
dogs.
little. They're like all Chihuahuas or something, right?
The girls, the first 2 are Havanese mix, so they're a little bit bigger.
They don't shed. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't shed, but yeah, they are a little bit bigger, and by a little bit, I mean that they're like 13 pounds. And then they go down. 13 is my biggest dog, and Bruno, the one that passed away, he was 3.5 pounds. So they go from 3.5 pounds to 13.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was not getting another dog when my last one passed in 2021, and I ended up doing the same. I fostered, and I got my lucky, and he's just been the biggest giant blessing to get me to Florida, and just the best companion through my healing journey this last 2.5 years. And dogs are just incredible. So we have that in common as well.
And dogs, they just offer you unconditional love. And it's more than that. They connect.
They make me smile. He makes me smile. He brings me, I'm just saying, like, he's like so much of my joy, just his personality. And what were you going to say?
It's just, it's something so special that they bring to us. And there's like the whole thing, of course, so many people sent me little memes and stuff after Bruno passed that God couldn't come to earth himself, so he sent angels in the form of a dog, and that's why you spell it backward. God spelled backward as dog. I
believe that.
And he says, I'm going to send you down, but I'm not going to give you wings so they don't know you're angels. And there's just so much there. They're so special and so soulful, and they have personalities as long as you allow them to.
Oh my gosh. I just noticed in the picture of the dog in the chair it has a heart on his chest. Can you see that?
That's so cute. Yeah.
I just noticed that while you're speaking. Like, I never saw that. I put the dog there. He's lucky, a version, and it's like he has a heart.
I see it. I love that.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Where did you come up with the name Dare to Care?
When I was putting together the book, my first book, I'm gonna try it. I originally wanted to call it "You Can't Make This Shit Up," because that's how I feel about some of the stories in nursing, and I know that that's not super nice. And one of my friends who was this was before we started our publishing entity. We had a friend who was going to publish it for me, and he's like, "Well, you can't name it that because the book is meant to be more than that." And he actually is the one that came up with the title Dare to Care. And it just became me. It really encompasses who I am as a human. And so I took that on as my whole brand.
Yeah, it's a brand. You have a podcast, Dare to Care. I was a guest on that. And the second interview will be out soon, probably. And yeah, Dare to Care is a great name. And so that's your brand. And tell us, you have a community on Facebook as well that's grown huge, and you show up every day for that or something, right?
I love my Facebook community, and it's by the same name. It's Dare to Care with Michelle, same as the podcast. And it's easily found on Facebook. I want it to be a safe place for it's mostly women. There are a few men that snuck in before I really decided I'm only going to have women, but it's men like my husband and, people that there are very few men in my group. The Dare to Care with Michelle is a safe place for women to go where they can talk, where I actually do have a messenger group where they can talk and they can support each other within the messenger group. I also show up every day and I give you affirmations in there every day. And except for when I'm running events, and I don't do it on the weekends because I work weekends at the hospital. I try to do Facebook Lives and I give a little bit of a meditation or maybe a little breath work practice. But I give you these journaling prompts. I give you gratitude opportunities. It's every day, and I love the group so much. It's become part of me, and it grew. I broke my foot back in April of 2024, and at that time, my Facebook group was about 800 people, and I was able to put my whole heart into growing this Facebook group, and it went from 800 people to as of now, I have 3,100.
That's incredible.
And
yeah. I've caught some of your lives. They're really, really supportive and loving and, powerful and very, very much needed. I'm sure it's something people look forward to every day, having that. Tell us about your podcast a little bit.
Dare to Care with Michelle. It originally started off mostly for medical personnel. I was mostly interviewing people who were in the medical field. And it was awesome. I love it. It was people who went above and beyond in nursing or in whatever in the medical field, respiratory therapists or doctors, whatever. I started feeling just like I did with the Dare to Care second book. I felt like I was missing a major component, and that is that people don't have to be in the medical field to care. Duh. Right. So Dare to Care is meant to be a community, a community of podcasts. The book is meant to be to empower people, to help them build their resilience. And I love having guests on there. I have guests, I have a guest almost weekly. I have a different guest. I have a few that are repeaters. People, in order to get to be a repeater, I have to love you. And like I did Linda, so that's why she's a repeater already. Yeah. And it's meant to be empowering and strong and just make people feel good. And that's what I want out of it. And that's the type of people I accept. I don't take just anyone on the podcast. I do allow men on my podcast, even though I don't have them in my group. And yeah, it's just an amazing podcast. It's so much fun. I try to drop a new episode every Monday. When the Dare to Care book, Wellness Warriors Share Stories of Healing, Growth, and Empowerment, when that's released, I'm going to release all the author interviews that I did on that same day. So that day, there'll be a whole bunch of interviews that everybody that I could get in the last week or two. So I wasn't able to get everyone, but I was able to get most of them.
I have an idea I just thought of. You could do a panel. You could schedule and invite everybody if you wanted to do that and record and ask questions, but it just came to me. What are some ways that you take care of you, Michelle, because you're serving and like you can tell you have this giant heart, you have all these dogs, you're freaking doing so many things. How are you taking care of you? And the other question will be, who are your favorite mentors? People who've made a big impact on your life besides Christoph. So tell us those two questions. I'd love to know, what are you doing to support you in feeling your best and feeling, empowered?
Yeah. And that's such a great question because self-care means so much to me. And there's a couple different things I do. First thing I do is when I get up in the morning, I don't look at my phone other than shutting the alarm off. I don't look at my phone. I've got all these dogs. I let them downstairs. They have a doggy door. They go downstairs. They go do their business. They come back up. And then we go in my office and I light the very candle I have lit that you can't see because my camera's not working. I light my candle. I turn on some music and I do my meditation. And I do the whole meditate. If you've listened to the, I think it's Hal Elrod does the magic mornings.
Yeah.
And so I do that. I do my meditation. I do my affirmations. I do the visualization. I I don't exercise at that point because I do that when I take the dogs down to feed them. I do my reading. I do my 10 minutes of reading. I do my journaling. I also added creativity. I like to spend time coloring in an adult coloring book, and just to allow my brain to open itself up to the creativity side of everything. Those are things I do every day. It's a non-negotiable. When we travel, I still bring my coloring book, and I still bring my affirmation cards, and all the things that I like to do. I bring that stuff with me. So because I need to do that so I feel fulfilled in the morning. Then after all of that, and it's so funny because when I start my journaling, Carly, one of our dogs, she knows that that's the last thing I do. And so then she's like sitting at the door waiting, because she knows that that's when they're going to go and get food, because they don't get fed. We don't do anything until I finish fulfilling myself and nourishing myself.
Good. Nice. Very nice. And then do you have a gratitude practice in there too? Just curious, or at night or something?
I do, in my journaling, I do write 3 things I'm grateful for every morning, but then I like to focus on one thing as I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
So one thing that I don't know like yesterday, for example, I was focused on the feeling good because we just had a successful event, and I was going through all the positive things that happened in our event. Then I like to take bubble baths.
Yeah, I do too. Who would you say had the biggest, like, spiritual leaders, coaches, authors, books that made a, big difference in your
For sure.
growth?
Kathy Heller has been a huge part of my growth and the direction that I've taken with things. Finding her really helped me focus better on what I'm doing and which direction I'm going. I also adore Tracy Litt, and am excited to get into to become my magician and do the things that Tracy does. So the two of them together are fantastic. Going from the business side, I do have a business coach. Her name is Galit Ventura Rosen, and she helps me focus my business and what I'm doing with my business. I have been author in multiple collaboration books with her. I think I've done 8 books with her, plus the 2 of my own, plus the one with Courtney Kaplan. And, but I enjoy Elite she has a program called The Iconic Woman, where she teaches us not just teaches us how to be iconic, but also at the end of it, we got to go and get our hair done, our makeup done, and a photo shoot. And they turned, like, the picture you're looking at was from that. They turned them into little pictures. The picture that Linda's looking at says, "Nurses are the bridge between despair and hope." And it's so special to have somebody who is able to guide me in that direction as well.
That's beautiful. So they did like a spa thing with photos. That's beautiful. How do you work on your marriage? I'm just curious, being that you have a successful marriage, how long have you been together? What things do you do together? Like, do you have date night? I mean, I guess the kids are grown, so you don't have to like have date night, but is there anything that you could share that you do to work on, or is it just ease and flow all the time because you guys just get along and it's all great? Because I'm under the impression that it takes effort to have a successful relationship with someone. So I'm curious.
So one of the things is, a lot of people think that marriage is 50-50, and it is not, because there's really no 50-50. Sometimes I'm giving 70%, and sometimes he's giving 70 or 80%, and so people have to keep that in mind, that we're a team. It's not just about him and me, and we're just a real team. We do, like, every morning, we get up, and after I do all my stuff, and then when I go downstairs, then he's already sitting on the couch doing his journaling. And, we hug every morning and we talk for a few minutes. What's my plan today? What's your plan today? So we do collaborate in that way. We're so blessed, and it was funny because we spend a lot of time on stage together when we do our events. And we did a vision board presentation together. And that was the first time we've actually done one presentation together. But it's just something really magical between Christoph and I. And I just feel very blessed to have it, because it's, there's things that he does. I like to make him a little bit uncomfortable once in a while, not terribly, but I'll ask him, like a couple sessions ago, a couple of our events ago, he was telling everybody that we're going to get remarried. And I said, well, you didn't ask. And he proposed to me on one knee.
Oh, nice.
So it's just things like that. We just vibe. There's no,
yeah, you have fun, and you're doing like your business, you're almost your business partners in some ways, and your partners in life. And it's beautiful. And it's hope for others, for like, that's who I desire. I desire to attract the person that's also doing self-development and spiritual stuff. I love it so much. So, or maybe he's, into it, but that's not the field he's working in, but he's willing to be supportive. And for me, and that's, like Gabby Bernstein, maybe her husband works as he runs her business. You know what I mean? Like the team.
We did just at this event announce the beginning of our company that we have built together, and that's called Grace Empowerment Enterprises. And Grace is greatness, realize, abundance, celebration, and empowerment.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I love it.
And it also happens to be my grandma's name. Grace.
Oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, I think celebration is underused. People just don't celebrate their wins. Like you just told me about this amazing event. It was a complete success. And you guys need to celebrate that happened, right? And I was talking to somebody, I was interviewed yesterday, and she was saying these two giant things that happened. And I'm like, you need to celebrate. Like celebration is the cousin of gratitude. And it's telling God, thank you, more please. Thank you, more please. And I believe that.
That's awesome, Linda. I love that. And I'm probably going to start using that. Because I want people to celebrate you don't have to celebrate. You don't have to wait on big wins. And I talked about this a little bit at the event, that when a baby takes tiny their first steps, we celebrate. Oh my God, yay. We don't say, well, you didn't run a marathon. That's right. And we do that to ourselves. Celebrate a small win. Celebrate that I got out of bed today and didn't stay in bed, even though we just finished an event and I'm tired. That's right. Celebrating all those little things matters 100%.
I love that. Yeah, it's so huge. And we just don't do it enough. And we, as women, share like how we have this program of being people pleasers, of being servants to others and making sure everybody else is taken care of. It's like a program that we as women, our, society, our family culture, it's just taught to us. And it's so not, we're really receivers, and we're supposed to be, the feminine way is to receive, right? So there's, the doing, which is masculine, and then the receiving, which is more feminine. And so I just love that, like when you were saying I could have slept in. Yeah. And we also can sleep in as CEOs of our lives and as entrepreneurs. And I love that. And I'm really, like, my word for this year is ease. And I'm really, really stepping into the spiritual and the feminine, and, just allowing versus like the doing. And it's really powerful. But anyway, I just thought if you want to share on anything around what I just said, like we feel like we have to earn our worth, and we have to like always be checking boxes to feel good. I mean, it's a human thing. It's not even just women. It's a human thing, right?
Yeah, so much. And one of the things I wanted to touch on, you said your word of the year. So my word of the year is grace. Even that's the name of our company, but it's also, I feel like I don't allow myself enough grace, and it's really not about me not allowing other people, because I do give grace to other people. I don't give. And so my big goal, my word of the year this year is allowing myself grace.
Always.
And you're right. It's like we get so stuck in, I've got to accomplish this, accomplish this, accomplish this, accomplish this. And so number one, when we're accomplishing the things, we don't stop and celebrate and say, okay, I just released a podcast. I've done one every Monday or every week for the last month. And I'm going to celebrate the fact that I'm doing what I said I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that celebrating our wins is huge. And I have all these checklists. I have checklists everywhere, all over my office. And you're right. It's like we need to settle down on the checklist and start feeling and allowing it to go and flow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I was always one that, is attached to outcomes and always like holding on to things. Like something happened yesterday. Was it yesterday? I forgot, and it was not positive really. And I just let it go. And I'm like, an old version of me would be like allowing it to aggravate me or put me in a bad mood for X amount of time. But like now I'm
Right.
like, whatever, let it go. It wasn't meant. Like I really love just the divine thing. Like when a door closes, a window's opening, another door's opening. Every perceived to be negative thing, there's an underlying blessing. We just can't always see it right away. You know what I mean? So I love that.
Yeah, for sure. At our speaking event that we just had, I love looking for synchronicities during our events.
Yeah.
That is so special to me. And we had a VIP experience where there were 8 VIPs, and we had, from our last event, we gave away those little nylon backpacks, and they're all in different colors, and we had 8 of them left, and there were 8 VIPs. And so I took those 8 backpacks and I put the things in them that I wanted for the VIPs, and I had a notebook with a sticker that had a special meaning, like not special to me. It was all different ones, all different notebooks, and all different quotes in them and all that. So first thing that happened when I opened my bag to get out the backpacks, the colors that were left over, each of our VIPs had a different color on, and they matched that.
Oh,
So
wow.
one of them had yellow on, and I gave her the yellow backpack. One of them had orange. I gave her the orange backpack. Every single one of our VIPs matched a bag in my bag. No way to plan that, right?
Right.
And then
It's a
there's
sign that you're meant to be doing what you're doing. Like you're doing the right things.
was one of our VIPs, and he pulled out the little journal that had a sticker that I put the sticker on. Now I couldn't plan who I gave which one to, and he pulled it out and he started crying, and he said, "How do you know me? How did you do this?"
Oh,
Because that sticker meant so much to him, and it was that the only person you have to be is you.
oh,
I couldn't have planned it. I didn't know that I was gonna pull out a black backpack and give it to the guy who was wearing black. That
wow.
wasn't my plan,
Yeah.
And so it's so amazing looking for synchronicities, and you will find them. If
Yeah.
you're looking for bad things to happen, you will find them.
That's right.
What you're looking for, and I am always looking for synchronicities. And so we have this thing where everybody gets like a card, and you fill out the card, and then you fold it up, and then our assistant, she handed the cards out. She didn't hand them out. She had them in a basket. You reach your hand in, you grab one. Okay. So she didn't hand them out. She didn't say, "I'm going to give this one to you, this one to you." She has them in a basket. And you reach in, you grab one. At the end of the day, the person who grabbed your card wrote you a letter. Christoph got mine.
Oh my God. That's
And we call it the heart to heart ally. And he got mine. I
mm,
mean, you can't get more special. You can't get more synchronicity than
I
for my
love.
husband to get a card that he wrote to me.
Oh, yeah, I love that. It's so beautiful. Tell the story about your daughter. Who was it? Your daughter that wanted or needed a new computer to start a new business or something? Daughter-in-law or something?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So my daughter-in-law was wanting to start a business, and she needed to get a new computer. And my son literally said, we're trying to save up money to get Megan a computer. And I said, well, turn it over to the universe. Stop trying to save money and turn it over to the universe. They actually found out that when she was a child, her mom bought a life insurance policy for her, and it wasn't really mature, but it was worth $1,500, which was how much they wanted for the computer, for the Apple computer. And her mom gave her that. They cashed it, and she bought her computer. And it was the day after I told my son, stop saving and turn it over to the universe and tell the universe, tell God, whatever you want to call them, tell them, hey,
right.
We need this so that Megan can start her business. And sure enough, the money just was handed to them out of nowhere.
Right. All right. I know. And you said, what kind of magic is that? Is that what he said, or what kind of
what kind of crazy magic are you performing here?
Yeah, that was so beautiful. You told me that. You're like, I told them, find out what's the exact thing, go look for them, start shopping for it, the price. And then like, it was 1,500. And then, within 24 hours, this $1,500 policy is
appeared.
Yeah. So I love that. That's just so beautiful. I love that. And that's what this is. We live in a magical, abundant universe. And so many of us are living in lack and scarcity and fear because of programming as if we're computers. We were programmed from 0 to 7, and we were just taking on all these beliefs that weren't ours, that, our parents, caregivers, and society taught us. And it still happens. Like, I have to stay away from people with their logical minds because I just don't want to hear their story, I just don't want to hear their beliefs around nobody wants to work hard. Like, I don't want to work hard. I don't have to work
hard. Yeah, exactly. Or success takes time. No, it doesn't. Success can happen overnight. There are people it happens to overnight. And then it's what we allow in. When we're ready to allow in our success, our fame, then it's going to come to us. It's going to be landing on us.
You said the key word. You said allow. And that's what it is, because we are the problem and the solution. That's in Tracy Litt's book. You are the problem and the solution. And that's the thing. We get in our own way so much. So I really appreciate you saying that word allow, because that's the truth. We are sometimes like for instance, if I didn't contribute into that book, I wouldn't have a published book coming out very soon, right? If I just let the money or the whole story get in the way. Instead, I'm like, no, I'm doing this, right? So it's courage, taking inspired, aligned actions towards the thing. And you guys had an amazing event. Like, if you had 8 VIP, how many people were there? How many did you have?
It's really funny because we had 8 VIPs, but we actually only had 11 speakers. They just all wanted to be VIP. It was fantastic. There were a few that chose not to be VIP. That's all.
But I mean, guests that you had.
Oh, guests. We probably, on day 1, which was the day we did the vision boarding, we had 26 and most of them came back, and then we got a few different ones. So we probably hit like 30.
That's amazing.
Yeah, 26 in one day, and 27, 28 the other day. Yeah, it was good. Like I said, the whole event it's made around being heart-centered, having that soul, that heart. It's so much fun, and it's just something I just can't even explain what it is.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love talking to you. This has been really great. Is there anything else you want to share that maybe we didn't talk about?
I think you hit my whole life, Linda.
I tried.
I know, you're awesome. There's so much. I'm so excited about everything that we have going on, all the different directions. And I am a Gemini, and so I do have all these, split personalities and all these different projects going. But I love all of them. I love what I do. I love being a nurse. But I also love being a healer. I've been when I was a baby, my great grandma, Grandma Grace, who our company is partially named after, she was holding me, and she told my dad, "This child is a healer." And that's what I've been my whole life. This is what my purpose is to help people heal. And whether that's physically as a nurse or their heart, their soul. I'm here to help them heal and to help them find their next.
That's
For
beautiful.
them to be empowered like you.
Thank you. That's beautiful. What's one thing you would say to someone listening that maybe hasn't really, started their self-development? I mean, usually they probably have, but is there one thing you would recommend or?
It's okay to start small. And one thing that people think is, I can't meditate. I've never done that. I don't know how. And a lot of us, and I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of us were taught to pray as a child. And that's meditation. It's just a meditation in a different form. When I was a child, I got on my knees and I told God, thank you for what might happen today. And I asked God to bless all my family members. And the more people I blessed, the later I got to stay up, because every second counts when you're a kid. But I said, thank you. I blessed the people around me. And I told God, tomorrow, I hope I do good on my math test tomorrow. So I was taught to meditate as a child. Nobody called it that. But knowing that when you meditate, and one of the things that I struggled a lot with was quieting my brain, and the fact that your brain doesn't have to be quiet, that the real muscle is in pulling it back. That means everything. It's like, oh, my brain just left. It went to think about something else. Okay, let's bring it back in. That's the muscle. That's when you get stronger. And that's when you develop your meditation. But starting small, finding what works for you. It might not be meditation. It might be breath work. It could be saying affirmations, but find one thing that works for you. Find a book that works for you. And if you don't resonate with The Secret, then there are a million other books out there that could help you develop what feels good for you. But find the one that resonates. Dare to Care that book is so special because it has so much. And the second book too, like I said, I love book one. I can't compare children. I can't compare books. Book one is special. Book two is so special because it offers people a way to heal. There's a girl in there who's a vegan. She talks about ways to help you change your diet. And then there's another one who her husband has dementia, and she talks about how to take care of someone who has dementia. She gives practical tips on that. So I give tips on healing. One of our dogs was having surgery and I was upset, and I wrote about how I have to allow myself to heal in order for me to take care of her. Linda's going to teach us about EFT and all the things that are involved in that. There are so many things that you learn about in Dare to Care Wellness Warriors Share Stories of Healing, Growth, and Empowerment. It's such a special book. I can't even.
I'm so excited. And it's coming out soon, right?
Very soon. I don't know when the podcast is being released. My goal that I am 99% sure we're going to make is February 25th.
Okay.
That's in less than a week from today. And I'm so excited.
25. I like that.
I know. Isn't that great? That's actually because I probably could have gotten it done by Monday, but I looked at the date on Tuesday and all the numbers, the 02252025. I was like, oh no, that's the day.
That's
the one.
I like it. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm not sure when it'll come out either, this episode, but soon, probably, maybe next week. So
yeah, that would be great. That's awesome. I love it. Thank you, Linda. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on here. You are so awesome. I love you so much, and I just love spending time with you. It's been you've been such a blessing in my life, and not just for being on each other's podcast, but in general, you're a blessing to the world.
Oh, thank you. You just made my entire day, my week, my month. Thank you. I love that. Thank you. I love you too. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope it was inspiring. I hope that you were inspired to step deeper into your power and embrace the abundance that's around you and within you. If you loved this episode, please share with someone you think would benefit. Subscribe so you know when the next episode is, and leave a review. It means so much to me to grow this audience. Let's try to help as many people as we can. Let's try to create a new earth. And let's stay connected. Follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at Linda Brand Coach and Abandoned to Abundant. Also, if you're ready to take your transformation even further, check out my coaching and resources at lindabrandcoach.com. Remember, you are worthy, you are powerful, and abundance is your birthright. Take care, everybody. Till next time.